What's going on, folks? This is Mr. Apathy, Devlin James, coming to you with another video. You know, when I started with my dating career years ago, I dated nothing but women who needed saving financially. Broke-ass women. And I was in my Captain Save-A-Broke-Hope phase. See, at this time in my life, my confidence level was in the shitter, and I thought those were the only women that I could get. But as the years progressed and I started finding myself and making strides in life, I no longer wanted to deal with these broke women. It got to the point where the very thought of a broke, aimless, loser woman made my penis flaccid. I mean, every time they're around, you're reaching into your goddamn pocket. If you go out anywhere with them or do anything with their company, you pay. All the time, every time. That shit gets old quick. So, I stopped dealing with these types of women altogether and started attracting women whom I thought were more established. Today, I want to talk about a particular type of woman that really doesn't get enough press, in my opinion. But there is a large number of them floating around. I like to call these women pseudo-successful women. These are the types of women who, on the outside, seem to have it all together. They may have a good paying job, a high-end car, such as a BMW, a Lexus, or some luxurious type of SUV, and they usually have their own place. As far as the way they look, fancy all the time. Hair done, nails done, everything did. The clothing they wear tends not to be cheap either. They project success and true independence. The problem is that the image they try to project to the world, and you, is all smoke and mirrors. Like a company that's constantly cooking the books, it all looks good on the outside and to potential investors. But when you open the ledger and do an audit, you will be looking at a financial nightmare. Now, I know some listeners, primarily the female listeners, are probably saying, well, men do the same thing too. This is true. A lot of people in life tend to project that they are doing better than they actually are. It's a natural thing. But I'm not talking about that in this video. I'm not talking about men. I am talking about pseudo-successful women because they can be very dangerous for men to get involved with. This is a kind of personal topic for me to discuss because my ex-girlfriend was a pseudo-successful woman. And let me tell you, I was attracted to her because I thought she was on my level. Meaning, she can take care of herself and she has her own shit. What attracted me to this woman was that she wasn't that damsel in distress who needed saving. You didn't have to reach into your pocket every time she was around. Actually, she would reach into her pocket most of the time when we started dating. I didn't even have a chance to reach into my pocket. I remember one time she took me out to this really expensive Portuguese restaurant for my birthday. And it was all on her. She wouldn't even let me leave a tip. Now, fellas, let me be honest with you. After dealing with so many broke-ass women in the past, my ex was a breath of fresh air. And this was in my pre-MGTOW days, so I felt that I can actually build something with this woman. I felt like if there was a woman out there that I would get married to, it would be her. Because she has her shit together. Or at least that's what I thought. Before I go further, let me just break down the game of these pseudo-successful women and my ex to you. Like I mentioned before, they are cooking the books. They are trying to look attractive to potential investors. But they aren't looking for just any investor. They want men who are stable. They want men who have their own things, their own homes. And when they find you, don't be surprised if they pursue you very fervently. What you don't know, because she will hide this from you, is that although she may be making good money with her job, she's living way beyond her means and spending more than she makes. These women are lucky to have $50 in their bank accounts. To me, it matters more what you save than what you make a year. What good is making $100,000 a year if you can't even save $100 a month? All their money goes to giving the appearance that they are more successful than they are, and they want to maintain that fancy lifestyle. Many of them have been living this lifestyle since they were in college, just living wild and accumulating debt from credit cards and student loans. Then they get out of college, get jobs, and instead of working to pay down their debt, they create more. So in their 20s, they're partying, traveling, buying new cars and expensive clothes, and it's almost all on credit. By the time they get into their late 20s, early 30s, they have accumulated tens of thousands of dollars in debt. And the debt keeps accumulating because these women don't know how to get out of this cycle they've placed themselves in. So, by the time they get into their 30s, the water has risen all the way up to their necks. And instead of working to come up with a solution to attack this problem head on, they go husband shopping. They want a man who is already established to some degree. That way, they can marry her, move her in, and inherit all of her debt. So now she can continue her fancy lifestyle while you pay her debt down. My ex fucked up when she let me look at her ledger, and I saw how cooked the books really were. Ironically, this was towards the end of the relationship. She had hit a point where she was under great financial duress. See, she had moved her mother and her niece and nephew, who were both young, into her apartment, and were taking care of all of them now. And this is a long story that I'm not going to get into at this point. So I told her I would try to help her budget. I just needed to see everything. I needed to see how much she made. I needed to see all the bills she had to take care of. I needed to look at everything holistically so I can begin to build a plan of how to attack this. Wow. Most of her money went to a $1,400 a month rent and a $600 a month car note. Then she had utilities, cable, all this other shit on top of that. And she had to provide food for a total of 4 people and medication for her aging mother. She was broke and charging most of everything on her credit card. In her condition, she shouldn't have even taken me out to that expensive restaurant. Now, I'm going to cut this a little short by saying this. In seeing her ledger, and seeing that she was planning to raise her niece and nephew and take care of her mother for the long run, and that she wanted me to be a part of that plan, I made an executive decision, especially after she told me that she wants to get married and have a child of her own in 2 years. So I sat back and did the math. I have to help pay down her debt, then eventually pay for college tuition for 2 kids that weren't mine, then have my own child with her, while I'll have to pay to raise, as well as pay for their college tuition for the future, on top of her niece and nephew. I literally asked her if she was out of her mind. I'm not about to live a life where I'm constantly breaking my fucking ass. Not for you or any woman. Needless to say, the relationship ended shortly after that event, and my personal journey into the MGTOW life began. It was at that point I decided that I was never going to get married. I was only going to live for myself. I'm going to close this video out by saying, beware of these pseudo-successful types. Ultimately, they want a man to marry them and help pay their debt and finance a fancy lifestyle. If they are paying to take you out to dinner or buying things for you in the beginning, they're just trying to make you feel that they are independent and can take care of themselves. And they want to give the illusion that they are someone you can marry and build a future with, since they're not like all the other women who are trying to get into your pockets. Well, at least not until after the ink dries on the marriage certificate. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope this video helps a lot of the men out there. This is Mr. Apathy. Feel free to comment and share this video if you like it, especially if you yourself have come across any women like this in your journeys. I'd really like to hear about it. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. More videos to come.